With the release of the new iPad Pro, many shoppers are asking themselves, which iPad size is for me? There's the iPad mini, the iPad Air, and now the iPad Pro. Thankfully, there's usually a correct answer to this question because each iPad has its own inherent advantages and disadvantages. So let's get into this. So let's start with the iPad mini, specifically the iPad mini 4. Now the first thing that should rule out this size of the iPad is if you have one of these. There simply isn't a big enough size disparity between these two devices to warrant owning both, in my opinion. If you have the bigger phone, my advice is to take a look at the bigger iPads. But if you are going to look at the iPad mini, there are a few advantages to be aware of. For one, it actually has a sharper screen than its bigger brothers. By that, I mean it has a higher pixel density. Now, obviously it has a smaller screen, which is going to be a problem for some, but it also has more pixels per inch. The other advantage is the obvious one. It's smaller, and that means you can carry it with you more easily. I can even fit this in my jacket pocket and take it with me, and that means I don't have to carry a bag. That's a big selling point, and it's something the other iPads can't offer. The iPad mini is also the most inexpensive of the three. Its base model only costs $399. The big downside for me is the screen size. I watch a lot of content on YouTube and TV shows, and having the bigger screen is really something that I value. But if that isn't something that's super important to you and you've got the smaller phone, then I say the iPad mini might just be for you. Next up is the iPad Air 2. You might be surprised to learn that it's actually the exact same thickness as the iPad mini, but with a 2-inch larger display. It's also a little bit heavier, and you certainly won't be able to fit it in a jacket pocket. I say get the iPad Air if you want a foot in both camps. You won't have the beast specs of the iPad Pro, nor will you have the portability of the mini, but you'll have a well-rounded device, and you won't feel like you're missing out on anything. Lastly, we have the brand new iPad Pro. Now the advantages here are pretty clear. It's the size of the screen and it's the processing power. If you want to be playing those 3D model games, if you want to be consuming lots of content with these 4 surround sound speakers, this might be for you. The downside though is the size. Consider what you're gonna be doing with this. Are you gonna be taking it with you everywhere? Maybe that's possible. This thing isn't as big as a house. You can fit it in a bag, but it certainly isn't as portable as the iPad Air or the iPad mini. The other disadvantage is the price. The base model is $799, and if you want cellular, you'll be paying over $1,000. That being said, if you want a premium device, this is the best iPad. It's the most screen real estate, it's the most processing power. In my opinion, this is the winner if money is no factor. If you're big on media consumption and you're okay with paying more than you would for some laptops, then this might be the iPad for you. It's actually been a bit difficult for me to transition back to my iPad Air after using the iPad Pro for only a week. But guys, I wanna hear what you think. What do you think is the best size iPad? And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll keep you up to date with all sorts of new fun stuff. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time.